You know, I never thought pulling up to my family's old ranch in Willow Creek would kick off the wildest showdown of my life. Me, Jack Harlan, fresh off being sworn in as governor, facing down this Spitfire HOA president like we'd stepped into some bad Western flick. There I was, tires crunching on that familiar gravel drive, the one my grandpa laid down way back in the 1800s, when out marches this woman, Karen Whitaker, clipboard in hand, heels stabbing the ground like she owned the place. "Excuse me, sir," she snaps, all fire and vinegar. "This is private property, and you're trespassing right now. Our Willow Creek Homeowners Association has rules, and that beat-up truck of yours is violating at least two of them." I shut the door, tipped my hat, and just stared for a beat, thinking, what in the world? "Ma'am," I said slow and steady, "this ranch has been Harlan land for over 150 years. I just inherited it from my uncle, and last I checked, it ain't part of your fancy subdivision." But Karen, oh man, she didn't blink. She puffed up like a cornered cat, flipping through her papers. "Oh, honey, you must not understand how things work around here. We voted to expand our boundaries for community enhancement, bought up those scrubby lots next door, and poof, your little farm's now under our jurisdiction. Fencing codes, vehicle restrictions, the works." I laughed. Not mean, just genuine disbelief, because here was this lady, all polished nails and power suit, trying to swallow up land that predated her HOA by generations, all in the name of beautification, which I figured was code for turning everything into cookie-cutter lawns and fake smiles. Deep down, though, it hit me hard. This wasn't just some mix-up. It was about control, about folks like her thinking they could bulldoze history for their version of perfect. And me? I'd spent years in politics fighting that exact kind of overreach. But now it was personal, staring me down on my own porch. She threatened fines for my barn's sagging roof, called it an eyesore, and I could feel that old family stubbornness bubbling up. My great-grandpa built that fence with his bare hands after the war, and no clipboard queen was going to erase it. "Karen," I said, keeping my voice even, "you're barking up the wrong tree. This is illegal, plain and simple, and as governor, I know a thing or two about the law." Her eyes widened just a fraction, then narrowed like slits. "Governor or not, Mr. Harlan, you'll hear from our lawyers. You can't just ignore covenants like some renegade cowboy." She stormed off, heels clicking away, but I knew. This was war, quiet at first, but brewing fierce. The next morning, coffee in hand, I unrolled the ancient survey map from 1872, the one with faded ink tracing every acre, and called my buddy, the state attorney general, Tom. We'd roomed together in college, and he howled when I spilled the beans. "She seriously thinks she can annex your ranch like it's a game of Monopoly?" he choked out, wiping tears from laughing so hard. "Word for word," I replied. "And she's got this whole fantasy about expanding for aesthetic continuity or whatever. Send me someone from land records if it escalates?" "But nah," I told him. "Let's play it cool. Give her rope." I'd rigged cameras on the fence posts, hidden ones, ready to catch whatever stunt she pulled next. Sure enough, by midday, her white SUV creeps up again, and out she hops with two goons in matching polos, rent-a-cops from some mall outfit, one wheeling a survey tool, the other unpacking a drone like they're prepping for spy games. "We're here for an environmental assessment," Karen declares, chin high. "Article 12 of our charter grants access to adjacent zones. Move aside." I step forward, arms crossed, feeling that mix of amusement and anger twist in my gut. Not happening, folks. This land's protected. Got a state fiber line buried yonder for wildlife monitoring. Fly that buzzard over and you're federal toast. The drone guy freezes, mid-screwdriver, glancing at his buddy who mutters, "Boss, this ain't worth it." And they start packing up, but Karen? She glares daggers. "You're bluffing, Harlan. Intimidating us won't fly. We know your type. All title and no teeth." I leaned in, voice low. "No bluff, just facts. And those cameras up there? They've got every step on tape. Best skedaddle before it gets messier." She huffed, slammed her door, and peeled out. But inside, I was churning. This wasn't petty. She was strategic, maybe even dangerous, with motives rooted in greed, whispering about kickbacks and land grabs to line her pockets while bullying folks who couldn't fight back. That evening, digging deeper hit pay dirt. I swung by the county records office to chat with Martha, this no-nonsense clerk who'd seen it all, knitting scarf in one hand, coffee mug in the other that read, "I file stupid." "Karen's been pushing boundaries for months," she grumbled, shoving over a fat file of zoning requests, lobbying to redraw lines, calling rural spots community adjacent. Total nonsense, but she's got board members eating from her hand, probably with under-the-table grants. Kickbacks, I thought. That explains the fire in her eyes. Not just power, but profit, squeezing out smallholders for developers. Then, the envelope showed up on my porch. No note, just creepy photos of me. The house snapped from afar, professional stuff that screamed surveillance. My blood ran cold. Who was she really? I called Deputy Sanchez, an ex-cyber guy from Austin, and he whistled low over the pics. This ain't amateur, Jack. Someone's gunning for you. Link it to her trespass, and we've got charges brewing. More folks started reaching out, like Sarah Wilkins, her voice trembling on the phone like she'd bottled it up too long. They condemned my little cottage last spring, said it was a hazard, demolished it flat. But the notice was on HOA paper, no county stamp. I couldn't afford a lawyer, so I walked away broke. We met at the old town courthouse, creaky floors and all, and she handed over before and after shots. Cozy home with climbing roses, then rubble. It broke my heart, seeing how they'd preyed on her loneliness after her husband passed, all for neighborhood progress. Then Mike Donovan, ousted zoning board guy, slips me memos at dusk, hands shaky. Karen pressured us for expansions, got me booted on trumped-up conflicts. She's hiring private muscle, intimidating sales below market. 5 families at least, scared silent. The pieces clicked. A racket, fraud layered on coercion, with Karen at the helm, driven by ego and cash, turning community into her kingdom. I wasn't defending just my ranch anymore. It was about uprooting this rot before it spread. So we set the trap, me and the team from the AG's office. I parked a trailer near the edge, fake invoice flapping for survey gear, sensors buried, troopers hidden. 2 nights later, alarms blare at 1 a.m. Cameras catch 2 shadows hopping the fence, crowbar glinting, bags slung like thieves. Lights flood, cuffs click, and they're down before they blink, one with a rap sheet for fraud, the other from a shady eviction firm. Paychecks traced straight to Karen's shell company in Vegas. She spun a denial in the press. Rogue actors? Not us. But the audio we cracked from her laptop? Goldmine. Her voice scheming with the developer. Tag 'em as hazards. Resell clean. County won't peak. Inspectors on payroll. Fury hit me like a storm. How many lives shattered for her gain? The arrests cracked it wide. Indictments flew. Over 20 counts from fraud to extortion. Karen's board scattered like roaches. VP resigned over flipped properties. Treasurer bolted to Belize. Trial was electric. Sarah testifying steady. They made me feel worthless, like my home was the crime. Jury hanging on every word. Audio playing her cold calculations. Guilty, all counts. She faced decades, no remorse. Just that flinch when her own voice betrayed her. We drafted laws after, capping HOA fines, mandating audits, banning sneaky annexations, passed clean, a win for the little guy. Back on the ranch, peace settled like dust after rain. We barbecued with neighbors, kids chasing fireflies, Mike carving a sign, "This ground stays free." Walking the fence that night, stars sharp overhead, I pondered. Justice felt sweet. But what if folks like Karen are symptoms, not the disease? Communities built on rules, yet twisted by power. Makes you wonder where the line blurs between order and oppression. Hey, if this rings true for you, maybe you've tangled with an HOA nightmare or seen power corrupt up close. Drop a comment below. Was she just ambitious or pure villain? How far would you go to protect your slice of home? Share your stories, hit like if it fired you up, and subscribe for more real talk tales that cut deep. Let's keep the conversation going.